what's up guys, Austin here from the Ghost Watch, otherwise known as Madfire Productions Channel 2, and I'm here for another Top 10 Most Haunted Places list. This is the Top 10 Most Haunted Places in North Carolina, which I lived in for a little bit earlier this year in North Carolina. I have family down there, so I know a little bit about the haunts and everything down there. A little less than I do Michigan, but I do know about this same amount. So, after about a day of research, I think I came up with a pretty good top 10 list, so I hope you'll like it, and let's get started. Number 10, I have the Brown Mountain Lights near Morganton, North Carolina. These lights occur almost every night, almost like the Paulding Light in Michigan, except these lights, there's more than one. There's supposedly a circular red color, and they'll just keep rising above the horizon, and sometimes I heard spinning in circles too. Nobody really knows what's going on. They were first spotted in 1913 by local fishermen, and they've been being seen ever since. People think maybe Native American spirits, or skeptics have been saying automobiles, airplanes, trains, but there's no road where those are, and ATVs can't get through there because of thick brush and no ATV tracks either. So nobody really knows what's going on there, but there's a lot of scenic lookouts for this for these lights. Like 4 or 5 different ones. The best one being Wise Men's View, which is off, I believe, the Blue Mountain Parkway or a little farther away. There's a lot of different places if you want to go check those out. Number 9, I have the Mordecai House in Rowley. It was built in the 1780s. Lady in Gray has been seen throughout the house. Piano goes off whenever there's nobody in there. Ghosts of soldiers have been seen wandering throughout. And whenever the piano's playing, a gray mist is forming above it. So a lot of people say that's the Gray Lady, but not too sure what's going on there. But it's a very old house, so probably been a lot of deaths in that house. So that's the Mordecai House in Raleigh. Number 8, I have the Great Dismal Swamp, which actually extends into Virginia. So I guess I'm getting a head start on Virginia. Who knows? But this extends from northeast North Carolina to southeast Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia, and Elizabeth City, North Carolina. It's a very large swamp if you know that area. So, and a lot of legends surrounding it. The most popular legend being, on their wedding day, this one girl set out to canoe in the swamp, never to be seen again. Her fiance went searching for her, thinking that she wasn't dead, like everybody was saying, but still alive. And if I remember right, he wasn't seen again either. And now people claim to see the ghost of the woman in a white canoe, just canoeing around the swamp. Also, many different lights and noises are heard throughout the swamp with no explanation. And if you've seen pictures of it, it's a very eerie place to be. So, number 7 is the Marine Corps Air Station Cherry Point in Havelock, North Carolina. My brother is down there in the Marine Corps, so I know a little bit about these places. Cherry Point, there's a old lady seen there named Mary. She'll just walk around and chat with all the Marines stationed there, and nobody really knows where she came from. Speculation is that she was a farmer, but nobody truly knows where she came from or the name Mary came from. Another legend at Cherry Point is of Kissy Sykes. I think it originated with a creepypasta, but it soon become a full-fledged legend. She apparently was murdered by her husband, who had PTSD, and he murdered his children as well. She was buried by her children, but later on, when they were constructing a new runway, they were separated. So now she goes across the entire air station looking for her children, and also basically terrorizing any man who has wronged his family in any way. Better be good to your family out there, guys. Watch yourselves. Alright, number 6 is the town of New Bern, North Carolina. Now, this is North Carolina's first ever capital and second oldest European colony. So there's a lot of history in this town. It's also a pretty wealthy area as well. But there's a couple places. The Atmore House, which was built in 1790. Poltergeist activity has been seen throughout there. Deaths occurred in the house from possibly smallpox epidemic. So there was a couple deaths in the house that I'm aware of. The Cedar Grove Cemetery, which is always back and forth to be haunted and be not haunted, but a legend there is of the Weeping Arch, which legends state during a funeral when a pallbearer walks under it, if a drop of liquid lands on a pallbearer, that pallbearer is the next to die. So if you're a pallbearer at Cedar Grove Cemetery, you feel something drip on your hand. Yeah, sorry. Alright, number 5 is the Biltmore Estate in Asheville, North Carolina. Now, this is the largest privately owned home in the whole country. Lots of stuff goes on here. It was built in the 1880s by George Washington Vanderbilt, who I believe is also his namesake for Vanderbilt University in Tennessee, and his wife Edith. Both of them are said to roam the halls of the house. You can see George Washington Vanderbilt usually on a stormy night, is what I've heard. And also, there's a legend of a black-dressed lady wandering who is always crying, very solemn. And anybody that sees her will basically just start crying. Nobody knows who she is or why she's crying or anything. But it's supposedly a very, very melancholy experience. Also, a orange headless cat has been seen just roaming throughout the house and grounds. That would be a pretty eerie experience. Number 4 is the whole city of Wilmington, North Carolina. Wilmington's a major city. It's a big city, but it's a very, very old city as well. They have a couple different ghost tours to choose from. A couple different. I mean, when you have more than one ghost tour to choose from, your city's haunted. I'm just saying. 1739 is when Wilmington was built. 1739, 1740, there's speculation. There was the Battle of Wilmington that took place there during the Civil War. Many very old homes. There's several neighborhoods just dedicated to like old, like 1800s homes, even like early 1900s. Many of them mansions too. It's a pretty wealthy area too. One of the big ones is the Bellamy Mansion, where I've heard you get many EVPs, electronic voice phenomenon. Like EVPs would be like a recorder, and you just hear voices in the recorder, something like that. And a few apparitions have been seen there as well. Number 3 is the USS North Carolina, which is in Wilmington, but this deserves its own spot on this list, and I will tell you why. It's been docked in Wilmington. I mean, there were 10 men killed on board the ship. Supposedly, a couple of them stayed back to help with the ship. They've been seen through the portholes on the ship, closing hatches and doors. Electronics seem to just go haywire whenever. Many, many cold spots, EVPs, got upon the ship. And there's been like a few sightings of full-bodied apparitions. Not too many, but I mean, when most you know is the ship and you had a traumatic experience, there's going to be some energy left behind. So a couple of these soldiers are still there working their day-to-day duties that they did back in, I believe, World War II. Number 2 is the Bentonville Battlefield. This was a battle during the Civil War. It's like east central North Carolina. Over 4,100 soldiers, Confederate and Union, were either killed, wounded, or captured MIA in this battle. It was the bloodiest and most costliest battle in North Carolina history. Noises from the past are supposedly emanating through the battlefield, like cannon fire, musket fire, soldiers yelling, apparitions of soldiers are seen throughout, phantom smells of smoke, even rotting flesh has been smelled. There's also a house on the battlefield which was used as a hospital to treat the wounded soldiers, who many died in the house. So there's been a lot of apparitions seen around the house, a lot of cold spots and odd light circling the house. So, but supposedly a pretty cool place to just check out. It's a historic landmark. I think it might be a state park now. So if you can go check that place out, it seems pretty cool. Number one. Here we go. Number one, I actually have Camp Lejeune, the Marine Corps base down there. I've personally been on the base because my brother's down there, so he's taken me on several tours of the base, and it's really cool to actually be on a Marine base. But I'm not here to tell you about the base, I'm here to tell you about the ghost that it may be on the base. And also the satellite facilities around the base, because Camp Lejeune is a huge conglomerate of several different Marine bases. So, but here are several of the many, many stories that go on here. The H1, which is an old hospital, now used as like an officer's station or something like that. It's many odd tales from here, like demons have been said to be roaming the halls. Many poltergeist experiences. They say the third floor was the insane asylum. Not too many people are sure, but there's been many odd experiences. Many voice phenomenon, electronic voice phenomenon, seeing apparitions, cold spots, you name it. Anything in this old building. In the 1970s, a recon team was doing some practice drills, and they were out on base one night and saw some smoke, and they were like, why is somebody out here with like a campfire? They walked over there and apparently came upon a Union soldier encampment. There were several different Union soldiers just walking around, sitting, talking, making food, and even a couple of them walked right by the Marines, and then after about an hour, they just left, vanished. And the recon team, Marine recon team, was so confused and spooked, they didn't even want to tell anybody because they know what they saw. So, and believe me, Marines, they are tough. They're not going to get scared very easily. A lady in white is seen at the machine gun range off a base, just floating around. Few troops have like called in saying, "We got a lady in here. We need to do something," and their commanding officer would just be like, "Oh yeah, that's the ghost. Don't worry about her." Just like, what? I mean, that's like, I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine that. Be like, "We got a lady in here. We got to do something." Oh, that's just a ghost. Don't worry about her. Like, okay. It's like the strangest thing anybody's gonna tell you. Courthouse Bay in the back of Camp Lejeune. There's some commanding officer houses in back there, some barracks, marina. There was back in the late '90s. There was a helicopter crash there. Two helicopters collided and killed several soldiers. Also, a Marine was supposedly drowned while fishing there. He's been seen on the beach, on the docks. Some of the houses there are supposedly haunted with doors closing and lights flickering on and off. And over at Camp Devil Dog, which is one of the outlying facilities, there's supposedly a child being controlled by almost a demonic force. and they will harm you if you get into the area where they're supposedly at night. So if you're at Camp Devil Dog at night, just stay away from the dark areas. Just gonna let you know. And that about wraps this up. But I want to say I do have two honorable mentions. Yes, honorable mentions. Now, these are both just legends. One of them has died down significantly the last couple decades, and one is still a pretty well-known legend, but this one has been debated very hotly. So, well, I'll just tell you what they are. First honorable mention: the Devil's Tramping Ground. This is a camping area, so but in like the middle there's like a huge ring where nothing will grow, and people say they have seen like the devil like just walking about there. Couple people said they talked to the devil, but his face was like really deformed. Um, but nobody really knows what's going on there. Literally nothing will grow in that huge circle, but it's never been scientifically explained. And the other one is the East Bend Headless Horse in East Bend, North Carolina. These legends have been going on for quite a while, but the one that probably most people know about is back in the 20s. Young boy was heading home, turned around and saw a headless horse chasing him. Chased him all the way home, several hundred yards, and he could even feel breath on his neck from the headless horse. So, but there were some legends before that story, but I think that's the one that most people know. I haven't heard any like new ones from it, but in East Bend, North Carolina, if you're walking through the woods at night and you hear clop, 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 just don't turn around. Just don't turn around. Or you're going to have nightmares for the rest of your life. You choose. Alright, so I appreciate you guys watching this video, and I hope you like and subscribe it. And if you want, check out my other channel, which is my main channel. I'll put a link in the description. So thanks, guys. Have a good day. Bye.